Hello everyone and welcome to Freddy Cooks International Soul Food. Today I'm taking you along with me into my kitchen to do a southern take on an Indian inspired dish. And on the menu we have smothered chicken curry. No, this is not your typical Jamaican curry. And it's not your typical Indian curry. It's not your typical Japanese curry. It's not your typical Thai curry. This is a southern inspired take on the Indian dish. So now that we got that clear, let's begin. I'm going to start by separating my seasonings. I'm doing 2 batches, so I'll have some for later. But we're going to start with onion powder and garlic powder. I am also going to be adding some of this Jamaican curry. Now, I know I said it's not typical Jamaican curry. It's not. But this Jamaican curry powder has everything that I need in it. It has the turmeric, fenugreek, cumin, coriander, salt, pepper, allspice, and garlic. So that's why I'm using it, because why reinvent the wheel when it's already invented for me? So we're going to be using some curry powder. Now, a little time goes a long way. Get it? A little time goes a long way. Ha 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 ha. No, but really, I'm using a little time because I need some earthiness in this dish. So I will be using a little time. And although the curry powder has allspice in it already, I will be using a few allspice berries just to help bring out the flavor even more. And if any of you have ever had Indian food or West Indian food, it is so flavorful. So this is going to be a party bursting in my mouth. And too bad you can't have none. I would share if you were here, but hey, what can I do? Make it for yourself. Now, this is not for the weak at heart because there's so much going on in this recipe, but this is not really meant to be a tutorial. By the way, I'm adding some soul seasoning and sugar. It's not really meant to be a tutorial. I'm just trying to showing you how I do this, and you can borrow from it. You can just kind of see what I'm doing, and if you decide to copycat it, then so be it. It'll be something that you will definitely enjoy. If you like curry, if you like flavor, go for it. We're doing bell pepper, onion, Thai chili peppers because I didn't have any other peppers. I would normally use ginger root, but I didn't have ginger root, so I had some pickled ginger. We're going to use that. Part of soul cooking also is using what you got to get what you want. I didn't have exactly everything that I needed, but with the ingredients that I did have, I was able to come up with all the ingredients that I need to get this dish done. We're going to add all of the seasonings from half of the batch to the chicken because we're going to be marinating this overnight. And I only had a little minced garlic, so I just went ahead and used it. Why not? I'm using coconut cream, which you can also use coconut milk. I'm using browning seasoning. And we're going to just rub this all into the chicken. Put our vegetables in. You don't really have to marinate it, and you don't have to do it overnight. 1 hour should be sufficient, but the longer, maybe 24 hours is good enough. I'm adding a little water for a little moisture there. And we're going to add carrots and potatoes. Now, keep in mind, I'm already starving at this point. So I didn't feel like chopping no carrots or potatoes. And I don't even think I had any carrots or potatoes other than this. So this is what I had. So I'm using what I got. Now, I also using some fresh garlic. Can't go wrong with that. And an Indian seasoning, Indian spice pack, which has cinnamon stick, green cardamom, and red pepper pod. So now Here is where the fun began. I am starting with some oil, but I'm using sausage oil just for an added layer of flavor. So whenever I cook bacon, I can save my bacon grease. Whenever I cook sausage, I save my sausage grease just for times like this. But in addition, I will be using some olive oil, just a little olive oil as well. And we're going to be sauteing our garlic, our red pepper pod, our cinnamon stick, and we're also going to burn the curry in the oil. And when I say burn the curry, I don't mean literally burn the curry, but that's just a term that's used to saute the curry to wake up the flavor. Hey, if you're wondering what that is, that little foreign object, it's actually pork fat, a piece of pork fat, so it's alright, I promise, it's okay. If you don't like pork, this is not an essential part of the dish, this is just, I'm winging it, okay? It's alright, I promise. I mean, you really don't want to burn the curry or the garlic. So now it's time to add in the chicken that's been marinating and sitting for all night, just waiting and waiting and waiting. But guess what? Now it's time. The wait is over. Chicken goes into the pan along with all of the contents that we marinated. Here's a look at our marinated ingredients. All goes into the pan. Now, it is starting to wake up. And this is definitely a dish that you have to cook with love because you don't want it to burn. So we're going to continue to just stir and move it around in the bottom of the pan because I am cooking it at a medium-high temperature right now, just to get the temp up, and then we'll cover and let it simmer for some time. But you don't want it to burn, you don't want it to stick, so you will want to come back periodically to stir. This may be a good time to point out that a lot of curries are on the thinner side. I do know, like in Jamaica, they use a lot thinner gravies for their curry chicken, but it really is all a matter of preference. So one, I prefer thicker gravy, and two, this is a smothered chicken dish. So we are smothering the chicken with curry. And since we already have all of this leftover goodness in this dish where we marinated our chicken, we're just going to use it to make the gravy. And we're going to start with the roux, which is just flour and water. We use a roux to thicken the gravy. Just flour and water, starch and water, and fat is what you would normally use for a roux. It's just a thickening agent, flour and water. We're going to season it with ground red pepper, we're using paprika for color, and we'll also be using some soul seasoning. And if you notice, I have used very little salt. Actually, I've used no salt. I've only used soul seasoning that has salt in it. The curry powder has a little salt in it, but we're going to go back at the end and add any additional salt for tasting, but no salt other than what's in the soul seasoning and curry seasoning, which is not a lot. Right, we're going to pour that into our chicken curry. We're going to mix it again just to make sure nothing is sticking. And as you can see, this is progressing really well. Chicken is now getting dark and you can tell that it's starting to get done. We're just going to make sure it's not sticking. We're going to cover for a little bit longer. We're going to turn down the heat in a little bit. I want to get everything incorporated, and then I'm going to turn it down and simmer it. So I just put a little bit more time in there now that it's almost ready. Put a little bit more time. As you can see, chicken is now coated. It's now sticking to the chicken. That's what we want. We're going to add a bay leaf or two. And we're going to now add a little salt. That we have our salt in there, we're going to cover this, turn down the heat, let it simmer for a good 15 to 30 minutes. Make sure to come back to check it to make sure it's not sticking. And then we're gonna come back and you see how thick it has gotten. This is the texture that I like my gravy, but of course that is a matter of preference. I like my gravy to stick to whatever I'm eating. So whether it's the rice, I want it to stick to the chicken. If you got some naan and want to act like you eat Indian food, you can get you some fufu, act like you're eating African food. I'm going to put this over some rice. Oh my gosh, the flavors. Whew. Thank you so much for watching Freddie Cooks International Soul Food. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you think. Until next time,